Well, welcome to another chapter of Kartzinel Conversations, where I, Dr. Jerry Kartzinel, a pediatrician, who's been taking care of children on the autism spectrum for almost over 30 years, and children in general, 35, almost 40 years. And boy, do I have a lot of things to share with you today. Today's topic is going to be about diarrhea, loose stools. Problem is, when you try to get help initially, you'll hear they'll grow out of it. It's toddlers' diarrhea. No, we have a problem. We have loose stools. If the veterinarian tried to tell my wife that my German Shepherd's diarrhea was just a passing phase, she wouldn't be very happy with him. This is not a stage. It is information, though, that the child is trying to convey to us that there is a problem with the digestive tract. And today we're going to talk about chronic diarrhea and what he or she may be telling us about that digestive tube. What we talk about today is for informational purposes only, not to be construed as medical advice. You need to get that from your local doctor. And hopefully you'll get better advice than it's toddler's diarrhea, right? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So what can the stools look like? Well, I've seen and heard it all. They can be, of course, watery. They can be sludge. They could be gelatinous, like mucousy. They can have different colors to them. They can be red, they can be green, they can be blue. Most often yellow-orange in color. They can be pudding-like. They can be explosive. They can be mixed with a lot of gas. They can be very foul-smelling. And they can burn the bottom a lot and causes a lot of discomfort. That's kind of it in a picture. But diarrhea is more than just being inconvenient. It can cause abdominal cramping and pain, and of course wakening in the middle of the night. It can trigger irritability, self-injurious behaviors. That's a big one with our kids. It can limit nutrient absorption and cause change in growth patterns. I've seen them actually lose weight. It can cause, of course, the skin around the bottom to break down and become weepy and red and again, very painful to touch. The kids won't even let you wipe them. They have to be put into a bathtub, kind of soak it away. It's really miserable. So obviously then, if they're not feeling good, their moods are going to be dysregulated. Hard to teach a child when they don't feel good, so all of your therapies are going to suffer during this time as well. And again, when I put them on the scale and I look at their height and their weight over time, I see they're not growing well. The stool is a window to digestion. You know, in the old days, pediatricians used to wear a bow tie. Why? Because when they would examine the stool, they actually looked at it back then, it would tell them a lot about what was going on in the child's digestive tube, and they didn't want to drag their tie into a dirty diaper, so that's why they tend to wear bow ties back. And when was the last time your pediatrician asked you to bring in a stool so that he or she could examine it to see what's going on? You can tell a lot by its looks, if it's grainy, if it's sandy, if it's lumpy, if it's creamy, all these disgusting terms, but that's how we try to figure out what's going on. Of course, there is a bit of an odor involved. I had one parent describe me, well, more than one actually, that it smells like a dead animal. It's just this mass of decaying material that's coming out of our sweet little kids. It's kind of disgusting. But again, these are clues telling me what I might be thinking about to help fix the problem. So how's the approach that I take? Well, what's the pattern? When did it start? Did it start from day one? Did it start with the introduction of cow milk formula? Did it happen to just gradually get there between 12 and 18 months? Did it happen after a particular round of antibiotics or supplements? You know, sometimes we give these children supplements that they say online is going to help, and they actually make things worse. And did it happen after a diet change when we remove something or we add something? So that's kind of a quick pattern. Also the timing, is it in the middle of the night? Is it after they eat? Is it irrespective of any timing? It just happens. Is it 5 times a day, every other day? These are things that I try to zoom in on. The color and the smell. Is it dark green? Is it orange? Is it yellow? Those can be very, very helpful. And like we mentioned, is the odor, it smell sweet like a bakery? Does it smell acrid? Does it smell acidic? Does it smell chemically? These are the descriptors that parents have used to help me understand what's going on. Or is it just foul? So these details matter. And then when we think about the contributors, what are we doing that might actually contribute to the loose stools? We might be doing something that we didn't think about. I guess the number one is fruit. Oh, of course, these kids, they love their fruit and they eat lots and lots of fruit, but you can overwhelm the stomach's ability to digest it and process it through the small intestines, and you leave a lot of fruit sugar to go into the colon. We call that fructose, and the body wasn't able to absorb it, and it feeds the microbiome, and all kinds of things happen. And sometimes I have to put these kids on a fruit restricted diet, and but it's organic fruit and it's all that he or she will eat. She eats 10 servings a day of fruit, and I mean the whole tub of fruit. You buy $8 of blueberries or red raspberries that are organic and they'll eat the whole thing. No, we can't be doing that, especially if it's a 3-year-old. Too much vitamin C, but I heard vitamin C is a great antioxidant, so I'm giving 3,000 milligrams a day. That might be causing a problem and causing diarrhea as well. Too much magnesium can do it as well. Food intolerance, which we'll talk about soon. Inflammation, if they have bowel inflammation, that's going to cause problems with diarrhea and abdominal pain and self-injurious behaviors. We call that inflammatory bowel disease if it's on that end of the spectrum. But it could be just bowel inflammation because we have the wrong bacteria, the dysbiosis. Again, another topic to talk about. There's a lot of conversations you and I can have about these kids. And you have to zoom into your particular child because, as I say, that these children are very much like 31 flavors, ice cream. We call it all ice cream, but chocolate's really different than strawberry, which is really different than vanilla. Our children on the autism spectrum, yes, they're all called, on the autism spectrum. I hate to use the word autistic. They're children with autism, but they're really different. Your child is different from the next child you see who's on the spectrum as well. So each one has their own flavor, if you will. And again, as we talked about last time, constipation. Having too much hard stool formed in the colon, the liquidy stool above it that hasn't gotten dehydrated by the colon has to come down and around and percolate, and you'll get this alternating loose, foul-smelling stools and big chunks and rocks coming out that can clog the toilet, and then loose stools. So we might be blessed and have a child who's got both chronic constipation and diarrhea. But diarrhea is not random. It's a signal, just like you and I, if we have loose stools, it's a signal we got into some spoiled food or something's not agreeing with our stomach or we got a little viral infection. It's always a signal. It's not to be ignored. And we can decode it. We have to be careful about it and very often figure out its source. Again, I don't want to overlook the child who's got diarrhea because of constipation. That should be high up on your list, especially if you've had experiences of passing pebbles or whatever. An x-ray can show us that the colon is packed with stool and we really don't have a diarrhea problem per se. That's what it's presenting as, but it's a constipation problem. Again, there's a signal, something needs to be evaluated. So we call that overflow diarrhea, okay? And they leak stools in there if they're potty trained into their underwear, or they've always got some kind of liquid expression in their diaper area. So that's how we're going to look at the diarrhea. Now, what are we going to do as far as trying to figure out if it's infectious cause? So diarrhea can be caused by infection, so I usually get at the office a stool study that looks at the predominant healthy bacteria, and then what they call commensal bacteria that's neither good nor bad, but it's there, and then pathogenic bacteria. The stool study will also show me if there's yeast growing in the stool, overgrowing in the stool, heavy growth of yeast. It'll also tell me if there are fats in the stool, carbohydrates in the stool. That would basically point to incomplete digestion or malabsorption. And again, if you deliver into the colon the trash can, the sewer system that's ready to be eliminated, a bunch of sugar from too much fruit, carbohydrates, fat, you're going to grow abnormal bacteria, and they are going to do something, and it's usually not a good thing. They can change behaviors. The other problems that we can have is that inflammation that goes with this type of bacterial overgrowth. In my clinic, once I determine if it's a malabsorption, maldigestion, we may change the foods that we're giving them, and we'll talk about that shortly. We may give them antibiotics, so I hate to use antibiotics, but if we have overgrowth of bacteria, I find that the natural ways of getting rid of the abnormal bacteria doesn't work in our kids on the autism spectrum. You see, 80% of the immune system lines the digestive tube. 80% of the immune system lines the digestive tube. If that's not working well, things are going to grow. It's just letting them grow. It's like big complaint is, why does yeast keep coming back? Well, the immune system hasn't recognized yeast as a pathogen, and it needs to be treated again and again. Now, sometimes I can come in with an antifungal and use more natural things to try and stem it from coming back. But once we get infiltrated, my approach is to go ahead and treat it, because I want to see that child get better quickly. Sometimes these organisms, when you use natural things, it's like a 45 horsepower motor, and I need a 400 horsepower motor. And I'm in it for clinical changes. So if I think we have a yeast and we've got terrible behaviors, and I want to get rid of them quickly, I want to give the families hope that we can change this and say, well, let's give this course of 16 different natural things, 4 to 6 months, and see how we do. Yes, that's one approach, but that's generally not my approach. I want to get things done quickly for the parents, but for the child too, because they're suffering. Okay, so we have to think about wrong foods, maldigestion, malabsorption, right? We have to think about inflammatory markers, which I will get also on the stool study, that might point toward inflammatory bowel disease. They're called lysozyme, calprotectin, blood in the stools, elevated white blood cells in the stools, mucus in the stools. Those are things that tell me it's more inflammatory bowel disease, and we may have to consult our gastroenterologist for it. But this is the approach that we use to try to determine it. So next time we're going to be talking about foods and their relationship with diarrhea and abdominal pain. Remember, I want you to like down there, push the like button and the subscribe button. It really helps us with our show and our logarithms, so more and more people can watch this. Remember, the purpose of the show, which is a little bit different, these conversations, I have nothing to sell you. This is not an infomercial. I'm not going to come at the end and show you a bottle of this or a bottle of that. I'm trying to give you information that you can use to help your child be the best that they can be, an optimal outcome, and relieve the discomfort that they're having, which relieves us as parents discomfort as well. So next week we'll be talking about foods and their contribution to loose stools, and I'm just so glad that you're here. I'm just so excited to share this wealth of information that I've been able to accumulate over decades of time, and we're going to get into so much more. I mean, we're just starting. This is the tip of the iceberg, as you can imagine. So make sure you follow us and subscribe to us. And I will see you at the next Kartzinel Conversation. Have a wonderful week. Bye now.